Hello, I'm Claire and welcome to my channel. So today's video is my August perfume tray. I'm going to pick 10 fragrances from my collection to concentrate on during August, and I'm also going to review my most worn fragrances from July. So if you've not seen me before, I talk all about fragrance on this channel, and I'm someone who loves talking about perfume science, perfume history, perfume psychology, and I also just do some straight perfume reviews from perfume tags. So if that kind of thing interests you and you haven't already done so, then please do consider subscribing. And if you like this kind of content, then please do press the like button. So July, how was it for you? In the UK, it was really still quite hot here, and that forced me into wearing fresher feeling fragrances. I feel like that really influenced my perfume choices over July. So from my tray, the ones that I ended up wearing the most were Le Jardin de Monsieur by Hermes. This is pretty predictable. This is a perennial summer favourite. It's a very watery feeling, very slightly floral feeling kumquat fragrance really overall, but it just really smells to me like a garden after the rain. It's definitely got a sappiness to it. So that's Le Jardin de Monsieur. I also ended up wearing Chopard's Sparkling Love quite a bit as well. This is a slightly more dense feeling fragrance, but it's got a really citrusy opening, and then it goes into sort of an apricot-y style fruitiness in the dry down, but really it's a white and yellow floral as well. It's got a slight creaminess to it, it's got a slight richness to it, but it's more about the freshness from the fruitiness alongside the florals. It's still quite a light feeling fragrance overall, perfect for the summer. So that's Sparkling Love by Chopard. And the third fragrance that I ended up wearing the most this month is actually one from Estee Lauder. It's called Sensuous. So this fragrance, I love wearing it to work. It's just a really nice, easygoing sandalwood fragrance, but it just makes you smell fresh and clean. It's got a lovely kind of body cream feel to it. So that is Sensuous by Estee Lauder. And the other one I ended up wearing a few times this month was one that wasn't on my tray, but it's just been a favourite this summer, and actually it was a favourite last summer as well. I just really like the scent profile. So this one is Aqua Allegoria's Orange Soleia from Guerlain. So Orange Soleia is the best fragrance you can buy if you want to smell like an orange. It smells like orange peel, it smells a little bit juicy, and there's also a slight woodiness to this, which just grounds it and helps it to last a bit longer. It's actually really long lasting on me, and that really surprises me because normally with citrus fragrances, they're gone within an hour or so, or if they're not gone, then they're packed full of aroma chemicals that make it smell nothing like an orange. I would say this is really truly the best orange fragrance that I've ever smelt, and I would highly recommend this one. So it's Orange Soleia by Guerlain. So happily it's now August, and that means one thing: I'm on annual leave for the entire month. I'm going to catch up on all those jobs I've been avoiding. I'm also going to go away for a little holiday, and I'm looking forward to seeing a few friends, a few people that I haven't seen for a while, and I just want to relax. So what kinds of fragrances do I want to be reaching for this month? I really want my fragrance choices for August to make the most of what's left of the summertime. So I really want to concentrate on my citrus fragrances, also some dewy feeling fragrances, some fresh fragrances, and I also want to have a few fun ones. So I'm going to select a few fragrances that just make me think of ice cream. So let's see what's on my tray this month. So my first fragrance choice for August is one that I've been wearing really non-stop the whole summer. And because it's so close to being done, I'm just going to put it back on my tray and just finish the bottle. So this one is Aqua Allegoria's Orange Soleia, which I've already discussed in this video, but I just am obsessed with this line. I've already finished Oud Yuzu this year as well, and I'm sure I will purchase another one from this line. So if you've got any recommendations, then please do drop them below. I've been really thinking very hard about Mandarin Basilic, but I'm still not sure whether I want the EDT or the EDP. I think I want the EDT, but please do let me know which fragrance you'd recommend from this line. So with the next fragrance, my citrus obsession continues. So this one is Miller Harris's Citron. This is a really unusual citrus fragrance for me. It's something that I really wouldn't want a large bottle of, but I do quite enjoy it occasionally. It's one of those fragrances that I don't feel is necessarily me, but I do think that there are elements of this that I really enjoy. It actually makes me think a lot of Aqua de Parma fragrances in a way. Makes me think a little bit of Aqua de Colonia. Not the same as for sure, but there definitely are elements of that fragrance in this fragrance. So this opens quite citrusy, as you might expect with a fragrance called Citron. It's a really bright lemon and orange fragrance, but alongside some greener notes, particularly basil and also mint. Then as it dries down, it becomes slightly spicier and also much more woody. And it's something that really makes me think of the Mediterranean. I think what I like about this one is the balance. The citrus stops it from being just a straight up herbal fragrance. And it's something as well that I think my husband is quite happy to wear as well as me. So this is one we can take on holiday and share. So that's Citron by Miller Harris. So the next fragrance is one that is gone but not forgotten, and this one is Balenciaga's Florabotanica. I'm putting this one on my tray because the summer is the time for this fragrance. It needs really super hot weather to shine, and I feel like this month is my last opportunity to wear this one until probably the following year. So it needs to be on my tray this month for me to enjoy it. This is actually quite an old fragrance now, and I really feel like I should be powering on through this bottle because I just don't want it to go off. So Florabotanica is just an oddity. I can see why it was kind of a cult classic, but also why it wasn't necessarily everybody's cup of tea. It opens really strangely with a green herbal opening, and there's also a slight spiciness to this, which is, I think, the carnation. And there's also aldehydes, which make it very, very soapy as it dries down. And there's also a very bright, fresh feeling rose that smells quite sweet. It's like a Turkish delight kind of rose, but it's just offset with that greenness, with the herbalness, and also with the aldehydes. Such a strange fragrance, and one that I think is very artistic, but also perfect for the summertime because it's very long lasting, but still quite fresh. And again, it's one of those wet garden kind of scents. So that's Florabotanica by Balenciaga. So the next fragrance, staying along the dewy, wet garden kind of feel, this one is just my most photorealistic rose fragrance. This one is Dior's Rose and Roses. So this is a fragrance that I generally wear a lot during the springtime, but I think this works perfectly well in the summer too. And it always just makes me feel super girly. It's one of those really pretty feeling fragrances. So this is really to contrast with the citruses, the herbal fragrances and the greener fragrances this month. This is something for when I'm just in a different type of mood. So this is a very slightly powdery but still very fresh feeling pink rose with a slightly sparkly musk in the dry down. Just a really elegant, understated, easygoing fragrance. So that's Dior's Rose and Roses. So the next fragrance is one that I will definitely be taking on holiday because I always like to take either decants or fragrances that are very inexpensive on holiday because I don't ever really want to lose anything and I don't want things to get damaged or broken that are expensive. So I generally take more affordable fragrances on holiday. This one is Cerruti 1881, and the thing I like about this is the lasting power, and I also just love the scent profile. It's very crisp and clean feeling, but it's also floral and a little bit vintage. It smells very 90s to me, but not in a heavy way. It's definitely got that aquatic thing that was around in the 90s, and it's also just got this lovely kind of powdery woodiness in the dry down, along with the florals. Really, this fragrance is based around chamomile and mimosa, but it does also have a very distinctive pink feel to this as well. And it always makes me think of fragrances like Miracle from around the same time period. It just takes me straight back to the 90s and to that same aesthetic. So that's Cerruti 1881. So the next two fragrances I'm putting on my tray for an odd reason, but they both remind me of ice cream in some way or another. I think the first one is probably a little bit of a stranger connection than the second one, but it still does make me think of ice cream. So the first one is Alluring Fig by Theodoros Kalotinis, and this always makes me think of a fig plant in the shade. It's the fig fruit, it's the fig leaves, and it's being in the shade of the leaves. It also does have an incredibly creamy feeling vanilla that also has a bit of a green tinge to it, I guess because of the fig. It's a very simple fragrance overall, but it just has a lovely milkiness as well from the fig, which really adds to the creaminess of the vanilla and makes me think just of ice cream. It's a distinctive fragrance, and I think some people might think it was a bit rich for summertime, but I just think if it's not too hot, this is a lovely fragrance to wear. So that's Alluring Fig by Theodoros Kalotinis. The next fragrance is really the best interpretation of ice cream. This one is One Way Bridge's Pitching Woo. So again, I don't think this is meant to make you think of ice cream, but it just does. This is really smooth and peachy feeling to begin with. It's quite fruity, and there's very quickly a slight mintiness to this. And strangely, it also makes me think a little bit of nettles and even hard toffee. It's a very strange combination of different notes, this fragrance, but actually the brand's creator lives in New Zealand, so there are likely things in this fragrance that I have never actually smelt in person, which is probably why my interpretation is so strange. This really does evolve though, and in the dry down it begins to smell like a dessert in a 50s diner. It makes me think of a melted ice cream, perhaps with something fizzy over the top of it. It's creamy, it's sweet, it's vanillic, it's a little bit sugary, and it's also icy feeling. It's just such an interesting fragrance, and I love that I get ice cream from it. So that's Pitching Roo by One Way Bridge. So the last three fragrances are all just a little bit richer, just in case the weather turns in August, and anything is possible in the UK. It could be torrential rain by the end of August. So the first of these is still a very summery feeling fragrance, but just with a lot more density to it. It's a lot more present than a lot of the other ones that I've featured. So this fragrance is Narciso Ambree, and this is a tropical feeling fragrance, and this is a tropical feeling floral fragrance, with most especially frangipani shining through, but there's also that very distinctive Narciso musk here as well, the musk cashmere combination that is very distinctive for the rest of this line. The tropical florals do stay throughout though, and it does have a very clean feeling solar effect, this fragrance. Just a really lovely fragrance to wear in the evening as well. Even if it's been a hot day, the evening is the time for this one. So that's Narciso Ambree. So my next choice is going on my tray because I've not really tried this in the summer, and I just want to see what it smells like in the summer. I've only worn this in the depths of winter, and this is a gourmand fragrance, but I would say this is definitely on the savoury side of gourmand, and it's actually on the lighter side of gourmand too. So this one is from Masque Milano, and it's called Lost Alice. So Lost Alice, I think, is meant to clearly be an interpretation of a Victorian tea party, but with cakes. And I think really a lot of people talk about carrot cake, especially with this fragrance. I don't really get that quite so much. What I get is the feeling of scones, British scones. I think Americans call them something slightly different. I'm not sure about Canadians. What I mean is, the fruit scones. I think of a buttered fruit scone, and it's that kind of flowery texture of the scone and that smell as you slice into one, the sweetness and also the crumb of the scone too, alongside the fruitiness. It also makes me think of traditional English cakes. I think especially of walnut cake. It has that slightly earthy feel that walnuts have, alongside that slight sweetness that you get from the cake mixture as well. It's just the most perfect gourmand for people who don't want an out-and-out sugary feeling gourmand. Interesting, loads going on, and something I can't wait to wear in the summertime to just see whether this is something that's really going to grab me this time of year. Yeah, so that's Lost Alice by Masque Milano. And my final choice for this month is one that always makes me think of harvest time. This one's called Eglantier, and it's by Nancy Meiland, who is a small indie perfumer who I think has a shop in Brighton in the south of the UK. So this fragrance, when I smell it from the cap, it just smells just like flowers growing out of a straw bale in a field. It really makes me think of just when wheat has been harvested, that kind of rich golden smell that you get from the remaining straw in the field. Hot straw left outside is what I smell with this fragrance from the cap. In reality, when you spray this out, it's really a very strong white floral fragrance, and it's also slightly spiced. There's some cardamom here, definitely cool spicy rather than hot spicy. As this dries down, it becomes more woody, it becomes ambery, more resinous, richer, sweeter, even slightly salty even. And actually talking to someone else who I sent a sample of this to, they describe this as smelling a little bit like velvet orchid. And I can see what they mean. In the dry down of velvet orchid, I can see definite comparisons with this fragrance. But this one, I just can't get over just how much it makes me think of straw. And that's a fragrance that's very nostalgic for me. My dad's a farmer, and the whole harvest time thing and the celebration when you've got the harvest in, is just such a childhood memory for me, and this fragrance just takes me straight back to that time. So that's Eglantier by Nancy Meiland. So that's the final fragrance in this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please do let me know what you've been wearing the most during July, and also what's on your tray for August. And if you haven't done already, then please do press the like button if you've enjoyed this video, and also consider subscribing if you haven't done already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!